Hello and welcome, I'm Tino, and today we are going to compare heavy fighter versus small fighter. On some situations small fighters are better and on others heavy fighters are better, but it's not always related to mission efficiency. Sometimes mission efficiency is counterproductive. You will get more losses if you get a high mission efficiency, and the most important factor here to define what to use is detection. And if you are in Paradoxian channel, please subscribe here. It's Tino English. I created this channel 2 weeks ago, so I hope to find you here. I will keep moving stuff from Paradoxian to here. And this looks very simply, but it's a little bit more complex than you think. Yesterday we did a very interesting example. We were playing as Japan and China. China was attacking Japan, and they used the same meta planes, 800 on the side of the Chinese, 800 of the side of the Japanese. The Japanese had more detection, more efficiency, but despite of that they were losing. And also, if playing as a Japanese, we use the mission efficiency, we increase the mission efficiency by pressing this button, we started getting even more losses. So like 800 planes with higher mission efficiency were getting even more casualties than the Chinese with low mission efficiency and detection. But if we decrease the number to just 100, they started getting far less losses and they keep killing at the same rate. Therefore, the way to win the dogfight was to send just few planes, 100, and keep them at 100, and the Chinese will start getting more and more planes, and finally they will lose the battles and we took very little casualties. On the other hand, we sent from the initial moment the 800 planes, we win the battle, but we took a lot of casualties. But if we send just a heavy fighter, like in this case, the Japanese took even more casualties and faster. So it was clear here that the heavy fighter was having a huge impact. Now let me explain why I did that on the video yesterday, but I'm going to summarize. If it's not clear, check the video. And we are going to assume that you have 800 Japanese planes and our efficiency is 100%, so we have 800% that are fully visible because they are flying on the area. And since the enemy has 5% detection, they are going to see 5% of those 800 planes, that is 40 planes. Therefore, they are going to be able to send 3 times that number to scramble and detect those and destroy those 40 detected planes. So they will be able to send 120 Chinese planes to attack our fighter, and that will be the damage that the Chinese are going to be dealing. 120 planes multiplied by the damage of the Meta 36 fighter. On the other hand, we have the Chinese that they have the same number, 800 planes, but they only have 25% efficiency, so only 200 of those planes are able to reach the targets, are flying on the area. But since 200 is bigger than 120, that was the required amount of fighters that we are being able to use, they are just fine. But 200 planes and we have a 10% detection means that we are only detecting 20 planes, and therefore we are going to be able to send just 60 fighters of our 800 fighters flying there. So it's a waste of fighters, of firepower, because they are dealing damage for 120 planes and we are dealing damage only for 60 planes because of the detection thing. But what about if we just send 100 planes? Well, we are going to be able to deal the same damage since we are detecting 20 planes and we are sending 60, so 100 is more than 60 and we are fine. We got 100% mission efficiency. We have even a surplus of 40 fighters. It will be better if we can land those, but we can't, so a perfect number will be to use just 60, but we can. So we have a surplus of 40. 100 planes with a detection of 5 means that they can only detect 5 fighters, and they are sending just 15 fighters of the Japanese to confront us. So in this case, we are dealing damage with 60 fighters against 15. And in this case, we have the advantage. We are dealing far more. We are dealing the same damage than before, but we are taking far less damage. And since the damage is multiplied 60 plane dealing damage, if you have a heavy fighter, the heavy fighters are deal 1.4 damage of the enemy in relation, and it's more powerful. It's almost double cost, but more powerful. You're going to be dealing even more damage. So it's kind of the movie 300. You have a narrow front line and the enemy can't use the number. In this case, quality is more important than quantity. In a previous video we talked about Lanchester square formula, and we say that the fighters follow that. That means that all the fighters are able to fire, and means that the side with more fighters usually wins the battle, and that gives the advantage to the meta. Numbers are more important than quality. But in this case, the corridor is much smaller since we have little detection, few fighters are able to fight at a time, and therefore here quality is more useful. So first conclusion, when there is low detection, quality matters, and you should send only the exact number you need to confront the enemy. So we can see only 20 planes, we should be sending 60, therefore a mission efficiency of 60 will be better than 100% since we are going to be able to be fighting just with 60 planes, and that will be great, but it's okay, 92, it's okay. So this is the perfect situation, and it's better for the heavy fighters. If you increase the detection, on the other hand, let's say that there are plenty of raiders, you're going to be using all your fighters, because if you have 800 and the enemy can see 400 of your planes, well, he's going to be sending 1200, and therefore here in that situation numbers matter. And since numbers matters, also this time, yes, mission efficiency matters because it will increase your numbers. And that's the second situation where the heavy fighter wins, is when you have high visibility in both sides, and therefore you need to put numbers, and it's a region like everywhere except Europe have big provinces, and therefore the small fighter will have 50% efficiency, and therefore will be using half their numbers. And there the mission efficiency of 100% of the heavy fighters will multiply by 2 the number of planes in the area, and therefore in that situation the heavy fighter will also win. When to use small fighters in areas that you have high detection radars, and therefore also that the provinces are small and your small fighter can reach almost 90% and therefore will have a very good mission efficiency. So in all these provinces in Europe, the small fighter will win against the heavy fighter. And there is another situation that I have not tested yet, but they should excel, is using the heavy fighter, especially the whales, by as interceptor. You have here in the English channel the meta fighter 36, but in these provinces you have just 100 killer whales, and they will be very hard to detect, but will find and destroy the enemy bombers and fighters very easily. Remember to put radars. And that's all. Hope you find this useful, and thanks for watching. Bye bye.